is coming up, so let's take a look at who we'll watch do battle in the feature match area this round. Both these players starting out with a 2-1 record as we transition into Modern. Matias Leveratto on Azorius Control versus Ben Stark on Is It Affinity. Getting to know the players, Matias Leveratto, you might remember him. He won Mythic Championship 3 with that Simic Nexus deck.
Yep.
Taking those turns.
Corey remembers.
I do remember. He beat my family in the finals.
Right. That is
but
right.
Other than that, I love Leveratto. He's a great guy.
Yes, 5 RC top 8 as well for Leveratto. Most recently a finalist at RC Santiago, playing here this weekend. Up against the man who almost needs no introduction, Ben Stark. Been playing the game since it was invented in 1994. Already achieved his season goal here. Won Pro Tour Paris in 2011. Most recently made a top 8 in the Players Tour Online 3 tournament back in 2020. Testing with Team Rampant Growth. Heavy play here this weekend. There's our matchup. What about the decks they brought?
Yeah, so let's take a look at our first deck here. First deck being Azorius Control with a companion here being Kahira. There are so many more Teferis and Narsets than I thought there were going to be at this tournament.
Yeah.
Control is actually kind of running rampant here. And this deck has everybody's favorite combo. You can make so many friends by playing Isochron Scepter and Orum's Chant at your local events, where your opponent just, can't cast spells, they can't attack, when you get that combo going. Super fun. This is a control deck at its core, trying to combo with Days Undoing and Narsets, where you get to draw a lot of cards, less cards for your opponent.
No dot deck.
Nasty.
Yes, a lot of no's, a lot of no fun for your opponent. And Ben Stark on the other side playing Is It Affinity. Now this deck is fun. This deck is really sweet. We see cranial plating. That reminds us of the affinity of the past. But now we see some of the new inclusions to kind of bring us to 2025. Affinity with Kappa Cannoneer, as well as our brand new card from Edge of Eternities, the Pinnacle Emissary, that really supercharged is this deck. The one interaction I want to point you out to is if you can warp Pinnacle Emissary and play Mox Opal, with the token you get, it turns off Mox Opal straight away. So that combo is just the bread and butter of this deck and leads to some really powerful draws.
Nice.
Yeah, you can get off to a blazing fast start with Is It Affinity with the right draw there.
Oh, yeah. You can play Kappa Cannoneer on turn 1. That is kind of the nut draw, and it is, it's nasty.
All right, let's see if Ben Stark can do it here. Riley and Cedric are in the booth, welcoming Cedric into coverage this morning.
Hi, Ced.
Hello.
Did you have a nice rest, sleeping?
Sleeping in.
Yeah, he turned up today looking real smooth, real well rested.
I'm incredibly well rested.
Yeah, I bet you
I
are.
will be both days. Thanks for asking.
Yeah. You've conned us all, my friend. No, it's good to have you along, Cedric. And thank you very much to our desk team walking us through the shape of Modern, and also more specifically the decks that we're about to see here, Cedric. Yeah. Very, very excited to see the Is It Affinity list. Affinity fell off for a long time, obviously after the banning of Mox Opal. Mox Opal is back. The old Affinity deck, however, is not. We've got a very, very different approach to this archetype these days. Same with Azorius Control. Blue-white Control, its fortunes have wavered over the years. It's been very good. We've seen Red incorporated as well. Back in the old days, Snap Custom Age, Lightning Bolt was a lethal combination. But today's Azorius Control deck is very different. And I'm interested to see these decks that have very long pedigrees, very long histories in the format, what they look like and how they interact with each other today in 2025.
And I like that we're starting with a matchup like this about two decks that have had a very long history over the course of Modern, as you mentioned. We've seen Affinity take numerous different shapes over the course of Modern's history. It was very difficult to try to play Affinity without Mox Opal, so in some respects I'm glad that it's back, because that means that Affinity is back on the menu. On the other side of things, as you mentioned with Azorius Control, that deck has been around for basically as long as Magic has been, and it has been around for a very long time in the Modern format as well. It has taken on many shapes and sizes. We even saw at the last Modern Pro Tour last year in that Nadu tournament that I think we all remember very well, that there was a white-blue based control that you could play. Yeah. It was energy-based. Now this one here that Leveratto is playing is not. This is more traditional, for lack of a better term, and we're going to see how it fares against Affinity, which is going to try to get underneath blue-white control before it starts to take over the game.
As someone who's been a fan of Modern for many years, over a decade now, it is interesting to see the way that decks cut through across the years, right? To see the way that certain cards, they stay the course, they stick around. Other cards, the word I'm looking for is not rotate, because obviously there's no rotation in Modern, but they become obsoleted. They're superseded by new cards.
Yeah, they fluctuate. Sometimes they come in, they come out, you know, that sort of thing. Sometimes they are just overwhelmed. And I know you don't want to use the term rotate out, but you can effectively say that. It's like their day in the sun is done.
Yes.
And now it's time to move on to some newer things.
We don't play Path to Exile anymore because we have Prismatic Ending.
Correct.
Correct. Yeah. But there are some cards that have stuck around. There are some cards that have made the cut. I'm seeing cards like Spell Snare, that's a classic. Obviously, the mana base doesn't change too much with fetch lands and shock lands. But as Corey mentioned, Isochron Scepter is a really old card and one that has not been a consistent player in decks like these. But it is. I mean, it goes all the way back to the original Mirrodin.
Yes, it does. So Isochron Scepter in combination with Orange Chant. For those of you old school gamers like myself, there was a format called Extended, in which you used to have a Scepter Chant deck, and that was a lock. You put an Orange Chant underneath Isochron Scepter, the imprint, of course, and then you just cast Orange Chant with Kicker every single turn, and your opponent can't really do anything.
But they love it. They love it.
It's a heck of an experience.
It's a hoot and a half.
Everyone's having fun, so that's good.
No, listen, quite seriously, fun is zero-sum. Any fun that you are having is fun that I am not having and should be. And Isochron Scepter plus Orange Chant seeks to fix that problem. Lorraine revealed, opening things up here for Matias Leveratto as he keeps the lands coming. But Ben Stark now, not the most explosive turn from him here, as a Solitude pitching to Ferry is going to take care of the brand new threat from Edge of Eternities. Tell us about Pinnacle Emissary.
So Pinnacle Emissary's Void is the thing that's the most important part about the card. Single mana allows you to void that card. Then it is on the battlefield, and then whenever you play an artifact, you're going to generate another artifact. Now, because it is voided, it is technically on the battlefield. Excuse me, warped, not voided. Because it's warped, it is technically on the battlefield. So we see a Solitude interaction there that you don't oftentimes see, and it's kind of humorous too, Riley, because you would think to yourself, well, it's going to leave anyway. What's the point of killing it? And the point of killing it is because if it is on the battlefield for a single turn, it can generate a whole swath of artifacts and allow for something that Corey did mention in the booth, which is effectively a very early, way too ahead of schedule Kappa Cannoneer. So the Solitude play there, it looks a little strange, but if you know how the Affinity deck works, Pinnacle Emissary is a new one, and it's a very good one in this Affinity deck.
And this is really good threat identification by Matias, who realizes that not only does that Pinnacle Emissary have to die, he's also going to play Narset next turn, which is going to catch him up on the card that he's lost by pitching the Teferi. The other thing to note here, Narset actually really, really good in this matchup. Because that card draw, it prevents your opponents from drawing extra cards,
yeah, with
right?
Thought Monitor and Thoughtcast.
No, not everyone's playing Thoughtcast.
Sure.
I cast my eyes over these Affinity lists. Not everyone is playing Thoughtcast. Ben Stark, however, he is playing 4.
Yeah, he's got 4 Thoughtcast and 3 copies of Thought Monitor. So,
and they become a lot worse when Narset's on the battlefield here. Now, Affinity is able to put on pressure on the battlefield, able to chip down Planeswalkers, but it does take a lot of the explosivity out of this Affinity deck in terms of its resources, as long as Narset is on the battlefield.
Yeah, that is actually rather humorous because Narset in general is just kind of a good card, effectively a 2-for-1, you know, soaks up a little bit of damage, that sort of thing when the card is working appropriately, but it actually does have relevant text in this matchup where generally you would expect that to not be the case, and in previous builds of Affinity that did kind of go without Thoughtcast and Thought Monitor and were a little lower to the ground, with, you know, with Master of Ethereum and stuff that we've seen over
You might even see Affinity players just ignore the Narset. Like,
absolutely.
All right, cool. Nice divination, man. Like,
it doesn't really do anything.
Yeah, but here it is actually going to do... Oh, and now here is a classic.
One of my favorites.
Back in my day, Cedric, when we cast a cranial plating, the game was more or less over.
And, you know, the way I like to think about cranial plating there is... well, if it's playable in 2025, how good do you think it was back in 04 and 05?
So for those
it was really good.
For those of you who haven't been with the Modern format for a long time, cranial plating was, I would argue, probably either the #1 or #2 threat in the old Affinity list. It was either that or Ravager.
Yeah.
Either of those 2 drops was terrifying to see.
Yes.
Now, in this list, it's still doing work. Let's make no mistake, it is still doing work, but it is more of a utility card than it is the game-ending threat that it used to be.
Ben's only playing 2 copies of Cranial Plating this time around, so as you mentioned, more of a utility card. It's not what the deck is entirely based around anymore. Affinity has gotten plenty of new material to work with.
All right, Narset's going to check out here. And we're going to see Kahira put into hand and a tap land for Matias. So a slower turn for him, but look, he will take slow turns as the day is long. He just wants this, well, essentially this sort of battlefield. No real pressure, Not a whole lot of action going on. He just wants to build out his mana base, sculpt his hand, and eventually get to a point where he has enough cards, enough resources, and enough inevitability to win. However, it doesn't really matter how the blue-white control deck wins. It will win one way or the other.
It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. The game goes long enough. And it can be Kahira, it could be a creature land, it could be Chant plus Scepter and who knows what. But it doesn't take much once the game is under control. The big question is can Leveratto actually get control and a stranglehold on the game to get to the point where I'll eventually win with whatever it's going to be? The thing that I like that Leveratto has done to this game is he's played a kind of a unique game insofar as he is trying to lure Ben into the Supreme Verdict that's in hand. It has been a lot of tapping out on my turn. So on turn number 2, it was, use Lorien Revealed, search for a land, put that land on the battlefield tapped. Okay, go.
It's
next
kind of
turn.
Inviting him, right? Be like, hey,
it's
man,
very much an invitation.
Come in.
Yes.
Play your creatures.
I'll
Get
play
comfy.
Narset. I'm all tapped out.
Yeah.
Go ahead and do your thing there. Don't mind if you do. You're going to attack that. That's fine. I reveal an Orange Chant. You don't really care about that. I'm tapped out now, so, the world is your oyster. Do whatever you want to. If you want to play a whole bunch of creatures, don't mind. Going to clear them all up. So this is very much an invitation from Leveratto to Stark of, I'd love for you to play as many creatures as possible.
Ben now down to 1 land without Urza's Saga hitting the bin. His hand, it's not great. We'll see how things go after this this Pinnacle Emissary is going to be able to, I think, just get its stuff done uncontested here.
Yeah, this is exactly what Leveratto wants to see happen. So these kind of turns from Infinity can be very scary, especially on the second or first turn of the game, especially when you're on the play. Pinnacle Emissary, bunch of creatures, kind of go nuts, right? But at this stage of things, Leveratto can just go, another creature, I love another creature. But yes, please play another creature. Don't really
That's
care.
the thing. I'm looking at Ben Stark's hand, and I'm actually a bit more worried about what that Thought Monitor might draw, rather than the cards. Because you look at a Kappa Cannoneer, right? And that's a terrifying creature to play. It's got Ward 4, which is essentially hexproof. But when your opponent has a card like Supreme Verdict, they're happy to be like, all right, cool. You put all this effort into playing this 4/4, and now it's dead, and you can't do anything about it. That Metallic Rebuke, yeah, cool, nice. Keep up your 1 mana to cast that. I don't care. This Supreme Verdict can't be countered. So what this is going to come down to is if Stark goes for the Thought Monitor, what does he draw? Does he continue to find a density of threats that is going to put pressure onto the blue-white player? And he shifts a turn. He doesn't play anything else.
Yeah, just a couple of artifact creatures in the battlefield. Now, the Cranial Plating is the scary-ish card on the battlefield right now. As it stands there, making these 1/1 creatures actually relevant here against Leveratto. And I wouldn't be surprised if we do see the Verdict this turn, and looks like it's going to be there.
Yeah, okay. And that's going to clear things out nicely. Not only does it mean that there is nothing for the Cranial Plating to be attached to, but it also means that if another creature if another creature enters the battlefield here, the plating doesn't really juice it up all that much.
Yeah, not a big deal.
With Ben at no mana to work with at all, just that 1 island here, and a hand that isn't really doing anything. The thing is, Matias, as is the problem when you're playing white-blue control, you're never really in a position to punish your opponent's fumbles and stumbles immediately. You can pull further ahead, certainly, but it's not like he can't close the door on this game here and now, right?
Not in a traditional sense, right? It's not going to be something like, okay, I'm going to play 6/6 and start attacking, you get the game over with. It's going to be a very slow grind. It's going to be Teferi, tick up, tick down, tick all around, draw a couple of cards, maybe set up a trap for you with Teferi, being able to play something on your turn that you weren't expecting. And for what it's worth, Ben here with just 1 land, hoping for a second land, and struggling here by drawing some expensive cards in his deck at this moment. So it's not really going according to plan right now for Stark. Now, this is kind of cute here, Memnite with some boots.
Yeah, let's go. Huge, get in there. Cop this to ferry down to just 3. So the Lava Spur boots making the Memnite into an immediate threat.
Certainly trying to.
And now we've got Kahira as well, the Orphan Guard. A 3 mana 3/2.
I love me a good companion.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get some beatdowns going. Situationally right now, Leveratto is in a very good space. Teferi can be a little bit tricky. There's still Orange Chant in hand. It's been there for a little while, as it was revealed from Narset. So at some point, Leveratto may have some interest in casting that or kicking it to effectively time walk Ben. There's just a lot of things to really like in this spot here for Leveratto. Life total is still quite high. Ben was making Teferi a priority last turn, so instead of Ben saying, I'm going to go after your life total, your Planeswalker is actually the problematic card. If you're attacking your Planeswalker, that means you're not attacking me. That's really good news for Matias. So a lot to like here for the blue-white control player.
All right, another land here. It's Urza's Saga. cranial plating gets suited up.
Yeah, and you see, even there, Ben is just like, I mean, I don't really have a very good attack.
No attacks through the Kahira. So it might be a 3-mana 3/2, but it's doing its job.
Yep.
And now we see Teferi tick down, bouncing the Urza Saga, which of course is an enchantment.
Yes, it is.
So it can be targeted, draw a card. So that's a nice little boomerang effect there for Matias. Just checking. Hang on, wait, what? And then Kahira comes in with Vigilance, I believe.
That is accurate.
Yeah.
And if Memnite wasn't attacking, I would be surprised if it were blocking the Kahira. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I would be slightly surprised. Yeah,
No,
Ben's
going to take it.
that.
On 23, that's fine. I'll take 3, he says. That's fine. It's more or less a free attack here from Matias because he either gets the damage through or he gets the creature off the board. He's got a nice full hand as well. I will say that Spell Snare is almost completely blank. It can target the cranial plating, which is already on the battlefield, and as far as I can see, nothing else in the main deck.
Yeah, I think I'm confirming that suspicion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Spell Snare is an interesting card that I think over the course of our modern rounds this weekend, we're going to actually see be quite good. It is quite good in the metagame currently.
Yes.
And against previous builds of Affinity in years past, where there were Arcbound Raptors
that's
and tons
all
of
you
bladings,
wanted.
you wanted Spell Snare a lot
Yeah.
against the deck. And now the new version of Affinity and how this deck is built and what its game plan is, Spell Snare, not nearly as good in this matchup.
So an Orum's Chant there, I don't think it was kicked.
Yeah, no need to kick it. Basically, this is because Leveratto knows that there's not going to be an attack. There's no concern of having to kick it. Ben already declared effectively last turn that he's not going to attack with the Memnite that has cranial plating. So just single mana, kick that, keep it moving. I like that play a lot.
And the other reason for doing that, of course, is it enabled the Monumental Henge activation. I think that tapped Matias out. I might be wrong about that. But this is huge, right? Just another source of card advantage. Look at the top 5 cards of your library, as you can see on the screen. Reveal a historic card. There are a lot of historic cards in this control deck, whether it's a Planeswalker. Some of the lands, Gaia-Reach Sanitarium, as you can see on the battlefield. Another card that you can pick up from this activation. So just a very neat little card advantage engine hidden away in the lands. And that's the thing. This is what the control decks do. They hide their win conditions. They hide their utility away in their lands. Narset plus Gaia-Reach Sanitarium is so nasty.
You don't wake up and register those lands on accident.
No.
These are not random
Just fall out of your trade binder. Like, oh, that's cool. I like the art.
Yeah, we don't see these a lot in any constructed format, but they are quite good right now. As it looks like Lunar Reveal is going to be played, and a couple of cards are going to be drawn. Supreme Verdict, Counterspell, and Spell Snare among the cards right now in Leveratto's hand. He is starting to run away with things.
Yeah. At a brisk pace, I would say as well, Cedric. He's got a bunch of lands. These lands do things that he's interested in doing, namely drawing cards, what have you. That a prismatic ending as well, I think.
Couple
yeah,
copies.
yeah. So I said before that the blue-white player can't always slam the door closed, right? But this is the point where it's a great big oaken door, like the ones that sort of Aragorn threw open at Helm's Deep, you know, like that. No, he's just getting big blanks.
I'm giving you a big blanks.
He opens these great big like doors,
I believe
right?
And everyone's paint
like,
this picture.
It's a classic image. They're heavy doors. They don't open quickly. They don't close quickly. You can't slam these doors, Cedric.
Oh, I can envision this. Big doors.
But once they're closed,
they're closed for good.
they stay closed.
Yeah,
That's
Bring
my
the drawbridge
point.
up.
That's my point here. The portcullis comes down, the doors stay shut, right?
Gotcha.
And that's what Matias Leveratto was doing.
Oh, I would agree with that.
Yeah. He's not slamming the doors.
No
one's saying that.
We're
No one's
slowly
saying
closing
that they're closing. They're being closed.
Got it.
Yeah.
Can't just do things.
Particularly,
You'll see after I do
salesperson
something.
comes to your front door and you close the door slowly on them while they're talking. Like, that's what's happening. And the door's not opening up. There we go.
That's something I can
I
relate
shouldn't have
to.
been doing
There
the
you
whole
go.
Aragorn son
No
of a-
solicitors, please, thanks.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what Matias. No, Ben Stark, I do not want to buy a vacuum cleaner from you. I don't need a new set of knives, thank you very much. What are you trying to sell me now?
I'm going to try to sell you a Kappa Cannoneer. How do you feel about
Oh,
that?
well, there's already one on the battlefield. I'll take another one for sure because that's going to get swept up real nice.
That's a real shame.
By the copy of Supreme Verdict. Here's a Mox Opal as well. Trigger both of these.
Yeah. Cappaneer is clearly not impressive in this particular game, but if things are going according to plan for
this
Ben,
card is terrifying.
This card it kills you very fast.
It gets worse every time you read it.
Yep.
Right?
You really can't interact with it in a meaningful way.
No.
It's a ton.
It's brutal. Like, you look at it, you go, okay, improvise. Yeah, sure. Oh, Ward 4? They gave it Ward 4?
They sure did.
All right, okay. And then you read the third paragraph on, but that says, like, all right, well, never mind. I may as well just pack things up and go home. Thought Monitor as well. Now, this one's going to replace itself with a couple of cards off the top as well. So it's not the biggest loss in the face of a Supreme Verdict. But Ben has committed to the board now. And Matias is in a position to really, I don't know, do something about that.
I am
the Lava Spur boots here.
I am working under the, for what it's worth, I am working under the assumption that Teferi went up last turn.
Yeah.
And that there will be an instant speed Supreme Verdict. That
Yes.
is the assumption that I'm working under. It would be horrible if I was wrong.
If that weren't the case, then we're going to... No.
Confirm.
It's okay. It's all right. We did it, everyone. Don't worry. Don't you worry.
Confirm.
Okay, so of course, Teferi's +1 ability allowing Matias to play sorceries at instant speed effectively, and so the sweeper comes down, and that's all she wrote. Ben looking to put some pressure on. No, not today, says Matias Leveratto. And I think we've got another hinge activation here.
It looks like it. Now, one thing worth noting here is
Oh, baby! Eyes across.
oh, the lock is about to start. Hang with me.
we go.
2 copies of Supreme Verdict
Yep.
in Leveratto's deck. Both have been played this particular game, so if you're scoring at home, if you're rooting for Ben, those are 2 things that he's been able to overcome. Got a new problem, though. We're in extended now.
Yeah.
We're in extended. I think circa 04.
Yeah, let's get the time machines. Fire it up.
Circa 04, 05 when I was 19/20.
Yeah.
You know, Riley, you know what they say about the good old days? You don't know about them when you're in them,
Yeah.
but it's nice to see it happen once again.
That's it. Well, and that's gonna be enough here for game number 1.
That's a real humdinger, that Scepter chant. Real tough one to beat. Now, I know we didn't do a deep analysis of the sideboard. If you're with us at the news desk, when Corey and Ailey and Maria were going over things, you saw pretty quickly that Leveratto has a really good card in his sideboard for the matchup in Fire Magic.
Fire Magic, yeah. And I think this is actually the only... Well, there's obviously there's Prismatic Ending, but this is the only red card that I can see in the list. I might be wrong about this, but I can't see any other... I can't see any other reason for all of these red producing lands other than, of course, the Prismatic Ending. So this really says something about how important this card is for Matias in games 2 and 3.
Look at this start from Ben. This is like exactly what you're hoping for. This is Pinnacle Emissary. Play a bunch of zeros. Put a bunch of creatures on the battlefield. I mean, this is 5 power on the battlefield on turn 1.
Yes.
And Fire Magic is going to say kindly leave.
Yeah, that's not for me today. Thank you very much. Yeah, and there is a Fire Magic in the opening here for Matias Leveratto. That is a very, very clean answer to what was otherwise a pretty terrifying opener here. Benstar cut down to size, although it looks like he's going to continue to play here with Pinnacle Emissary out of the Warp Zone. So not the worst outcome for him. It just means that he's not playing at his very best.
Correct. That kind of start that you saw from Ben, that's the exact reason that people are registering Affinity this weekend.
Yes.
Kappa Cannoneer can be involved in that. Thought Monitor, Thoughtcast, that can be involved in those kind of starts. But the card that matters the most there is Pinnacle Emissary, which now has been hardcast and been on the battlefield, but it's those starts that are kind of outrageous. There's a Thoughtcast off the top, not bad.
That's nice. Oh, but it's going to get eaten with a mystical dispute. Okay.
It is.
Oh, is it? Maybe not. We got a Metallic Rebuke or something?
Yeah, I just count not enough mana, 2 mana. So it's just going to be equipped to boots. These boots were made for walking, so that's what they're going to do.
Yep.
The reason Affinity is back on the menu is the unbanning of Mox Opal and the addition of Pinnacle Emissary and starts like that. If you can do that with regularity, especially on the play, you're in very good shape because it causes the opponent to have an answer right away. Fortunately for Leveratto, Fire Magic was there.
Yes.
If it wasn't and it was a reliance on something like Supreme Verdict, Leveratto may be dead right now.
Oh, yeah. That's the thing. And that's the thing about Supreme Verdict. At 4 mana, it might as well be a million in some matchups, right? In others, it's fine. Like, you can get away with it, but Supreme Verdict has... It is just at that classic Wrath of God, Day of Judgment mana cost, where sometimes it's fast enough, other times it's not, particularly when you're on the draw.
So Fire Magic being in the sideboard here, a conscious decision. You have to imagine.
Fire Magic being in the opening hand,
even better.
A very fortunate happenstance.
Yeah, that's your
Leveratto.
classic. That's your classic. I'll keep.
Yeah, I think I'll keep.
I'm going to keep my opening. Go ahead and do your worst. Don't mind.
Yeah.
Ben now is kind of struggling along. There are good draws that can occur here. You saw Thoughtcast get peeled off the top. That was counter, but that would have been an ideal draw step if it resolved. Thought Monitor is one of them. Something like an Urza's Saga isn't a bad thing to find in a situation like this. But the good draw steps are few and far between. It's always been one of the problems with Affinity is you kind of throw your first Haymaker, and the backup Haymaker doesn't really come that often.
Doesn't make a lot of hay.
Yeah, it does do that. So sometimes if you find a Thoughtcaster or a Thought Monitor to kind of bridge the gap to give you more gas, you can kind of keep up. But in a situation like this, Ben is really struggling. Now, the last thing I will note is this consult does resolve, is that Leveratto is an 8. So it's not impossible for Ben to win this game. It's going to be pretty tough, assuming those light totals are correct, but it's not impossible for a comeback here.
Consult the start charts, the latest and greatest when it comes to, yeah, it's really good. Yeah, yeah. And we've seen a lot of evolution. We've seen Memory Deluge. We've seen other cards come and go from these decks. I don't think we've seen anything better than Consult the start charts purely for the level of flexibility it gives you. Great on turn 2, great on turn 4.
Yep.
Great at any point of the game, really.
It's one of my favorite versions of the Memory Deluge style card that we have seen over the years, because given its flexibility. It's just a really cool version of that type of card. I imagine Azorius Control players around the globe are very happy with its existence.
I was happy when they printed Instant Speed Divination. So when I get Consult the start charts, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me, Cedric?
Doesn't take much to keep you happy.
No, it doesn't at all. No, not very much. Simple man. All right, decent looking hand here for Matias. On the other hand, Ben Stark just doesn't really have a hand. He's got a Pinnacle Emissary, which is going to meet a Mystical Dispute, and then just a blank piece of cardboard in Mox Opal. Being legendary, of course, he can't really play the second copy to any great effect. But in comes the Mem Knight. This is a 3-turn clock here for Matias. It does require some kind of an answer.
This would be, I will say it bluntly, this would be rather comical if Lava Spur Boots plus Bozo Artifact was able to get the job done. I don't imagine that's actually going to be the case, but Ben is trying.
You can get around Ward 1. We can beat up. We can beat up.
The +1 is kind of nice.
Yeah, it's doubling the clock, right? All right, so we see Kahira. Now, that is a card that can block. So is the Mem Knight going to run into it? We can put the boots on the Ornithopter in that case.
Ornithopter's got wings.
Get in there. One in there.
Deal with those boots.
Cedric is enjoying this, I think, a little more than is entirely appropriate.
I like a scrappy and, speaking honestly, pathetic affinity. Okay? It's one of my favorite parts about the deck is when...
It's one of those anemic draws that just shouldn't work.
Trying to cross the finish line with just garbage.
Yeah, and your opponent's just drawing lands. And you're like, I don't know why I'm not dead, but it's working. Yeah, all right.
It's wonderful.
Okay. I can respect that. You know, Cedric's got his proclivities. Who are we to judge? All right, in comes Kahira for 3.
Anyone can kill the opponent on turn 2 with like a combo deck. Ooh.
Yeah, how impressive.
Yeah, that's not impressive.
Well, we're all so impressed.
Yeah, when you were with your circle of friends in between rounds, what'd you do? I Goryo's Vengeance on turn 2. No one wants to hear that story.
No, everyone wants to hear about how you beat someone with an Ornithopter with boots.
With boots?
Yeah.
That's what we're here for.
Here's Teferi Time Raveler.
Alpha Narset. Planeswalkers are pretty powerful right now.
Yeah, yeah. Narset, another card that's sort of come and gone. Teferi has 3 minutes. Teferi came in and was like, I'm here for... just immediately found a comfy armchair, sat down, was like, I'm here for good. I'm not getting up.
If you have access to blue and white mana in your deck, Teferi is in your 75 somewhere. It's in main deck or sideboard in varying numbers. It's in your deck somewhere.
It's doing something.
It's too good not to show up.
Yeah. Continuing to hit lands here, and there's Teferi, Time Raveler. Going to bounce the Ornithopter. You're going to have to pay an extra 1 for that, bucko.
Are we bouncing the Ornithopter or are we bouncing the boots?
I think a judge is now going to get involved to see if the trigger has been missed because Matias went to draw the card quickly.
So
we're going to let a judge weigh in on this. We can turn up the table mark.
You mentioned the trigger, so we are going to resolve it. So are you willing to pay the 1 or not?
I mean, he went to draw a card.
Yeah, so you already drew.
No, I did draw. He didn't put it in his hand, but he was starting to draw it.
In this case, indeed, you have to let your opponent react. You cannot press the game so far. You cannot draw the card yet because visibility has not resolved yet. So this card has been moved significantly. So that's going to be, this card will be considered as seen. Are you in a situation where you can pay this ability or not?
Yeah, I can fetch and pay.
Then in that case, we're going to resolve visibility. And
I guess. I thought he missed it, but whatever.
This is a triggered ability.
Yeah.
You're the one who can miss it. He cannot miss it.
Okay,
but as soon as you point it out,
of course. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, no problem.
I mean, obviously, I would have pointed out either way. That would be cheating not to. I just thought, he went too far to still do the work.
So,
Seems Ben there a little concerned that the Matias drawing his card indicated that he didn't want to pay the ward thing, but that's obviously not how it works with the way these triggers hit the stack. So as it is, things are resolved. Judge called in, which is what they're there for.
Yep.
And the situation is resolved and we move on.
I mean, it is worth noting that in order to bounce that creature and pay the ward, Matias did have to sacrifice the Scalding Tarn, which is another point of damage, and Ornithopter costs 0 mana. So, you know, ideally, what Ben does here is just play the Ornithopter again, put the boots on it, fly over for a point of damage. Depending on where the point of damage wants to go, it could be Teferi, it could be Narset, it could be just the face. It looks like the Ornithopter is going to resolve.
It doesn't cost. Essentially, what they did was tap. You paid 1 mana to tap your opponent's
Violet. Yeah, it wasn't very effective, and because Leveratto's life total is pretty low, I think Ben doesn't mind the exchange overall.
I think bouncing the boots may have been a bit better.
Perhaps. I'm more on board with that, as there's the bobble. Going to take a look at the top card of Leveratto, and Ben will actually get to draw that card. Even though Narset's on the battlefield, it goes 1 card per turn. Yep. So Ben will draw it on on Leveratto's turn, not his own turn. So the Teferi is gone. The Narset, well, let's see what it finds.
So Teferi hit by that Ornithopter, as you pointed out. 4 cards off the top. We've got another Narset. Is that a temporary lockdown there? Yeah.
That one...
That's real nasty.
That one might be the check mark.
Yeah. Because that gets rid of not just the creatures, but also the boots, and indeed the Mox. Good news. Frees up the Mox Opal in Ben Stark's hand.
Looking for a positive.
There we
Found
go.
one.
Right, temporary lockdown. Away it all goes, leaving Ben with just 2 lonely lands. In comes Kira here. So Matias, walking something of a knife's edge, but it's one of those thicker knives. You know what I mean? Like a bread knife.
My favorite kind of knife for my favorite kind of food.
Yeah. Really?
You're talking to
bread?
the right guy. You ever had it?
I should.
Pretty good.
That's pretty
Give
good.
it a try. Let me know how you think.
Okay, we'll come back. Maybe I'll see if I can have some for dinner tonight, and then I'll... is it like, can you get it like is there anywhere?
They got it most places.
Most places?
Yeah.
All right.
Best part about it?
Yeah.
Pretty cheap.
Is it really?
Pretty cheap.
That's pretty good.
In this economy,
Is this new?
Big deal.
New kind of thing that's been
Some
around.
We're trying. Some we're trying.
Some we're trying. Let's see if it catches on. Springleaf Drum here for Ben Stark. He's just not finding action here.
Well, the Urza Saga is not so bad as a find. It's a little slow, but it's not so bad as a find.
He makes some constructs.
Yeah.
He makes some constructs with it for sure. Yep.
The boots being gone, as much as we are kind of joking about the boots was the most relevant card that Ben had on the battlefield. So those being locked down is a bit of a bummer for a start.
The thing is, Matias is sitting on a Solitude, double Orum's Chant here. Is he going to... No, of course he doesn't kick it. There's no... Well, no, you don't kick it here.
Nope, just single mana. You get no fun. This is basically going to lock Ben into just, if he draws a land, play it, but it's just going to be a Saga activation for a construct. Yeah, there's a Darksteel Citadel. Citadel is actually, as far as lands are concerned, maybe the second best one behind another copy of Urza's Saga, simply because it makes the construct bigger.
Yep.
So not a bad land to draw if you're going to draw one right now.
But again, Solitude sitting in the hand, ready to deal with anything. I think there was a Mystical Dispute there as well.
Solitude actually now just on the battlefield.
Oh, it's just hard cast.
It's time for a little life link.
Yeah. Okay. No, all right. We tried. Had a couple of different goes at that, but this Solitude is juiced up by the Kahira here, and given vigilance as well.
Yeah, very very positive Kahira in this situation. Most of the time, that bottom line of text of each other creature you control, that's a cat, elemental, nightmare, dinosaur, beast. I don't know. Do we just Yahtzee those onto a card? It's just those creature types. Gets +1/+1 and vigilance. So that doesn't come up a ton, but alongside Solitude, very good.
Oh yeah,
very
Matias will be very happy for the extra point of damage and the extra point of life. But we're going to see Ben here activate, make a construct token.
Yeah, Ben wants to block there. The construct is counting Citadel plus Springleaf Drum plus itself, so it should be a 3-fer. And Solitude should be a 4/3, so that should be a trade.
Little trade skis there.
Yep.
But hey, look, the damage is done, or has been undone, really, with Matias Leveratto up to 7.
I didn't realize it was
Yeah, it's
elemental.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I see flavor text on Kahira until it isn't.
Yeah.
Until it isn't.
I don't play a lot of Modern, as you really guessed.
Might be time maybe for a little draw 3. Looks like it.
Yeah, seems so. Yep, Lorien revealed here. 1, 2, and 3 cards off the top.
This be a nice feather in the cap here for Leveratto if he's able to get this match. It's a positive matchup, I think, already, just given deck construction.
Yes.
And he has clearly taken this matchup into account with the copies of Fire Magic in the sideboard. But, you know, beating a Magic Hall of Famer, a Pro Tour champion, and Ben Stark, never a bad thing to do in the midst of day one of a tournament to kind of get you a little bit of a confidence boost.
Blood Moon brought in by Ben Stark as well. This is a deck that's playing a decent number of basics, and you can see, I think, Matias recognizing that may have fetched them out, knowing that Blood Moon might come in against things like Hall of the Storm Giants, Gaia Sanitarium, and even just the shock fetch base. Like if it comes out on turn 2, which it can with a Mox Opal conceivably, that can be backbreaking if you don't draw the right land. So a nice piece of sideboarding by Ben Stark. It hasn't worked out though. He hasn't drawn at the right time. I love Blood Moon though, dude. I'll play Blood Moon all day long.
Love?
I love it.
Oh, this is the whole fun is zero.
Fun is zero sum.
Right.
Fun is zero sum.
We're coming full circle.
Any fun that you are having is fun that I could be having.
Nice.
Yeah. We're coming full circle, much like the moon on the card Blood Moon.
Yeah. Well done. Well done. You have a Teferi to work into this?
Yeah.
In this whole thing?
What do you think? Oh, in the like
in the painting that you were putting together.
Well, it's a very zero fun sum fun card again. Like
some
the whole
fun,
deck.
some zero sum fun. Is that where we are?
Listen, you're not gonna. I'm gonna have some fun.
Okay.
You're gonna have zero fun.
Great.
That's why it's called zero.
What if
sum
I told you I'm
fun.
having fun with you right now? Is that okay?
That's a problem for me because that's fun that I could be having instead of you.
Gotcha. Okay.
So I'll have to work on that. All right.
Speaking of fun.
Yeah, Kappa Cannoneer, here it comes. Well, here it doesn't come, actually. It goes straight to the bin thanks to the Mystical Dispute. And Leveratto sitting pretty. This one's over.
I mean, this is the dream, right? If you're playing Azorius Control, this is what you want it to look like.
Yeah.
Every single time, especially in a matchup that's based around creatures like what Ben's doing. You answer the early stuff, you kind of trade resources, use your life total as a resource, you eventually take over the game, you got your Planeswalker set up, you got your, it could be Grey Ogre, it doesn't matter what the creature is, just something to win the game with. Oh, Days Undoing,
and a Days Undoing to close it out. So we see Matias Leveratto win, I would say, comfortably, 2-0 against Ben Stark. I think Ben did the very best he could with the tools that he had, but at the end of the day, a positive matchup for the blue-white control player, good draws as well, and also just expertly navigated by both players to the best of their abilities, but at the end of the day, Matias Leveratto had the better draws, the better deck.
I think comfortably is a very appropriate way to kind of sum up that matchup. It is very notable to me, given the deck construction for Leveratto there, that if I were to go ask him right now, out here in the booth, like, were you expecting Infinity and did you prepare for it? I think the answer is very clearly yes. The Fire Magics, yes, but also just multiple copies of Supreme Verdict, other cards, other removal spells that are definitely pointed towards cheap interaction against a deck that can play creatures very, very quickly, copies of Temporary Lockdown, which are not, it's not a bad card in the format, but it's at its best against Affinity. So it's very clear to me that he came prepared for that matchup in mind. And when you're working yourselves out of the limited rounds and work yourself into the constructed rounds, ideally you get a good matchup and you're able to take advantage of that and get the win. He got the good matchup and he got a very comfortable win. So if you're Leveratto, you have to be very thrilled after round 4.
Exactly how he's drawn things up, I would say. So he moves on to 3-1. Well done to him. Ben Stark down to 2-2. We're going to take a quick break. But on the other side of it, more Modern Magic coming your way from Atlanta. We'll be back after this. Welcome back to coverage of Pro Tour Edge of Eternities, coming to you from Atlanta in the United States of America. My name's Riley Knight, joined by Cedric Phillips here in the booth. Can't wait to get stuck into more modern. Oh my god! Whoa! Holy moly! Look at that! He's happy with himself.
Okay. Do a cartwheel, then we'll see.
I could do that.
Yeah?
I could do that easy. Not in my coverage suit, of course. Absolutely not. Wouldn't danger the threads in that way. But nah, easy peasy. No, that was very impressive. Wow, I did not see that going on, and I was walking my way into the hall this morning.
No, I missed that.
No, I missed that. But I'm glad we caught it on camera.
You know why I missed that?
Why?
Because I got to sleep early.
Because you got here at 1:30 in the afternoon because he took off limited.
Hey.
But hey, we're all winners. We got Carmen instead. So
yes, indeed.
It was
Carmen's
a good
the best.
It was a good outcome. So, my friends, we're stuck in a modern now. The constructed rounds are well and truly underway, and it's my great pleasure to be bringing you our next match here between Guilherme Merjam out of Brazil. Derrick Davis on the other side of things with one top finish. He made a top 8 relatively recently.
Yes, indeed.
Boros Energy versus Simic Neoform. Heading into this tournament, Cedric, Boros Energy very much the most played deck in Modern, certainly online at least.
Yes.
Very, very popular indeed. Simic Neoform, am I fair to characterize this deck as a one-trick pony?
Well, it depends on your definition of one-trick pony, if I can pry a little bit.
Okay. You want to get into that?
Well, okay, so Simic Neoform, here's how I look at it.
All right.
It's a very all-in strategy.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a lot of resilience. If you come prepared to beat this strategy, if you walk into this tournament and say, I don't want to lose the Simic Neoform, you're not going to lose the Simic Neoform. If you are preparing for other things, because this is a vast format and there are other decks to prepare for, then Simic Neoform can be a deck that you say, I don't think a lot of people are going to play it. I hope I don't get paired against it. And then you can get destroyed by it. It's flimsy, but it's powerful.
But what I'm saying is it has one game plan. It's linear, right? It has one game plan. And
very much.
It's a one-trick pony in the sense that it can do one trick.
Yep.
Right? The pony doesn't really come into it. That's more of a sort of a metaphor. It's more flavor, right?
Gotcha.
Pony isn't actually part of it. It's more of a saying.
I see.
But yeah. But
You know what it could be? A one-trick freighter. Atraxa.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Is Atraxa's not a Praetor though, so you've embarrassed yourself.
Really?
You've embarrassed yourself. Sorry about that, everyone. We do try to find the best, but we end up with people who have never read a Magic story in their lives, and it shows. And it shows. Cedric.
That's right.
Just for everyone who's concerned about this sort of stuff, just slide into Cedric's DMs with your favorite link to a Magic story, so he can read up on it.
What if you didn't?
Slide into those DMs and send him your favorite Vorthos lore.
You know, this is a cat. I can confirm.
Yeah?
And it's a really good one.
All right, talk to me about Ocelot Pride. What's your favorite thing about this card?
I actually just kind of like the whole package. Like
You just got a real weird...
1/1 first strike lifelink. I'm already into that.
Yeah.
Ascend, I'm into. Cat tokens, I'm into. The fact that this immediately puts the opponent to the test right away of do you have a removal spell or not, and if you don't, I'm going to start snowballing the game. I'm into everything about Ocelot Pride. I really am.
Cedric's one of those strange people. For those of you who aren't very familiar with his work, he's one of those very strange people who just unironically likes white weenie decks.
I love low to the ground white creatures.
Just like really, really likes them, and not as like a bit.
No.
Like earnestly likes them.
My brand of Magic.
Yeah.
I absolutely.
He's all about this. He's salivating.
This kind of start, I'd sign up for this every time.
All right.
Even if I died on turn 2, don't care.
Because you got to play a 1/1 and a 1/2.
That's right. And they brought some friends along. Got to be ascending in no time.
So a little bit of inbuilt synergy between these two cards. Not very much not the point of the deck. This is not a cat-typal deck.
No.
But all the same, there's a nice bit of synergy between the one of the two drops here, Ajani Nakatl Pariah, rewarding you for playing cats, bringing a cat along himself, as you mentioned. But the Ocelot Pride, it is sort of this army in a can type. It doesn't need an immediate answer, but it does, well...
Yes and no. It's matchup dependent, right?
Yeah.
Because it can snowball out of control very quickly, especially because the card works very well in multiples. I mean, we're talking about in turn 1 attack for 1, now turn 2 it's attack for 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a trigger for, of course, more tokens coming along the way, so this card does snowball the game very quickly. The thing I like about this card and Boros Energy in general is that it just very much puts the opponent to the test rather quickly of, I do have draws that can kill you fast. And if you are stumbling and fumbling, or you're playing a deck like Neoform, which does tend to mulligan, if your hand doesn't come together very quickly, I'm going to win the game.
This is a really nice bit of tech here. So a second copy of Ajani Nakatl Pariah, which means that you can actually flip one of the copies because it counts as a cat die.
Oh, yeah.
Due to the legend rule.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Us white aggressive players, we know that interaction.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah,
yes,
we
Cedric.
like
I actually wasn't explaining it to you. I was actually explaining it to the audience. Bringing you on board as a sort of like little broadcasting tip so you can add your feedback there and not just lord your superior knowledge over everyone.
Oh, I
so obliquely.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. Well, that's not what I did.
No. You just jumped in there. I knew that.
Yeah.
I knew that.
What Ajani is missing right now is a red creature alongside it. For the full damage dealing potential, because these cats, they're all white creatures. Now there are many different ways to make some red creatures in the Boros energy strategy. There's Ragavan, there's tokens from Voice of Victory, among many other things. There's Flage, there's Seasoned Pyromancer. But right now that's the only thing that's kind of missing here for now for Derrick Davis. Derrick has played 2 lands and done nothing.
Yeah. This is a good start. But no, quite seriously, there is a lot of actual potential here for Derrick this turn, because this is the turn where you can start playing cards like Neoform, right? So we see Allosaurus Rider. This can be played as a 7-drop for free by exiling 2 green cards.
But Derrick just played Alice. That's not.
But that's it.
That's not how this normally goes.
No. There's no Neoform.
Yeah, no. There's no nothing.
There's no nothing at all. There's just a. I don't even. How big is this card? Equal to 1 plus the number of lands you control. I don't. Can we crunch those numbers? Can we get the bean counters onto that, Cedric?
I believe you can do the math.
Is it 3?
It's looking like a 3-3 to me.
It's looking a lot like a 3-3 that he paid no mana for.
It's a really good target for Flage.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Now, I caught a little bit of a glimpse of Derrick's hand. There are a lot of copies of Pact of Negation in hand.
Okay.
And that's less than ideal right now. Pact of Negation in Neoform is a way to protect yourself first and foremost. It can be proactive, sometimes it can be reactively, but more often than not, it's a proactive way to basically push your combo through. It is not ideal in this matchup. I would not be surprised if Derrick sideboards this card out.
Why are we calling this Boros Energy? This is Boros Cats.
Yeah.
This is Boros Cats, dude.
At least it is in this game.
Ajani going upstairs here, put a +1/+1 counter on each cat you control. That's every creature.
Fact.
That's every creature on Guillaume's side of the battlefield. And a Thraben Charm here as well.
A lot of modes. This one is just, I got a lot of creatures. I'm going to kill your creatures, and then I'm going to kill you. Now that's Magic right
That's
there.
a game of Magic the Gathering.
That's a game of Magic right there.
That's a game of Magic the Gathering.
A couple of creatures, one removal spell, see you later.
Yeah. Your opponent plays a 3-3 on turn 2 by exiling 2 cards from the hand, and then they die. So a very, very, very confident win there for the Brazilian player.
Guillaume is definitely dying on turn 2 this game, by the way. Just lock it in.
Yeah.
I'm ready to just lock it in.
Derrick Davis is not the sort of man. He doesn't take this sort of behavior like that.
Derrick did stone nothing that game. He's definitely killing Guillaume quickly in this game.
Yeah. He's not the sort. He's not going to leave an insult like that unanswered. No. The gauntlet has been thrown down. All right, Windswept Heath here for Guilherme. Gets a Sacred Foundry. A lot of very, very powerful 1-drops in this deck. We've got Ragavan. We saw Ocelot Pride. There's Guide of Souls, of course.
This deck should generally have a turn 1 play every game. There are very few hands that you want to keep without a 1-drop, especially on the draw. There are some hands on the play that you can actually convince yourself to maybe not keep a 1-drop, but again, this is some of the appeal of the strategy as a Breeding Pool's entering the battlefield untapped. Probably dead now. Is that? Oh, well.
All right. Well, let's not.
Maybe it's just a turn 2-3-3.
Maybe it's just a 3-3.
Maybe just a little turn 2-3-3 again.
Yeah, look, he's got a proven track record as Derrick Davis. Did mulligan as well. Both players actually down to 6. All right, so we've got the Allosaurus Rider.
I can't believe it.
The Neoform.
I can't believe it.
All right, so what are we looking at here, Cedric? You said we're dead on turn 2. Talk us through what's going to happen.
All right, Grizzlebrand is here. At the very least, it's going to hang on the battlefield for a while. This isn't a temporary Grizzlebrand. This is a permanent Grizzlebrand via Neoform. So next is how many activations are we going to do here of old Grizzleby? I have to imagine it's going to be at least 1. So Derrick said I'm going to go to 11. So 7 cards coming. Derrick's going to analyze these cards and see if he wants to go a little bit deeper or not. It looks like an Endurance among the cards found. Effectively, what you can do here, like in this particular matchup, you can just have a Grizzlebrand and it can be good enough. You can also try to combo kill by putting like another Allosaurus Rider into play, more copies of Neoform, stuff like that. So I actually like watching Derrick kind of do his thing here. So I'm going to let him steer and see exactly where he wants to go with Grizzlebrand and this Neoform deck, which I love this deck. It's such nonsense.
It is. It's very silly. We're going to see another Allosaurus Rider here. 2 cards being exiled. Not a very high cost to pay when you can just draw 7, another 7 for free off the top. And presumably this extra Allosaurus Rider indicates that there is going to be another follow-up. No, never mind.
Just...
All right.
8833.
Go.
Go.
Yeah. Yeah. When you've got so many cards in hand, you know.
What?
Yep.
This is a game where Ocelot Pride, not as good.
No, certainly. Well, there's not a lot of 1-drops that are very good in the face of an 8/8 flying lifelink. I can think of Swords to Plowshares.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Path of Exile.
Path of Exile.
Yep.
And the list goes on. But we see now with Guilherme fetching up a Plains, he's going to have something to cast this turn. But what is it? And is it going to be good enough in the face of what Derrick Davis has got going on? My suspicion, Cedric, no.
Well, let's see. I'm excited to find out. I'll look out.
Okay. All right, we've got a Voice of Victory.
A card I like a ton. Great addition to this strategy and aggressive white decks in general.
Yep.
2 mana, 1/3. Gets your protection on your own turn because opponents can't interact with you. Creates a couple of creatures as well. Red creatures for a Johnny, which is also very nice. Really good alongside Goblin Bombardment. So there's a lot to like about Voice of Victory in a lot of situations from this deck. This is just not one of them.
Cedric's favorite thing about it is that it has 1 power.
I'll go to 10.
He'd like it less if it had 2.
It wouldn't be fun if it had 2. It'd be too good if it had 2 power. It would be. Make them earn it if they're going to play white aggressive strategy.
Make them earn it. All right, Allosaurus Rider buff now to a 4/4. Are we going to see an Eldritch Evolution here?
Yes, Evolution sacrifice.
Yep, Eldritch so that poor Allosaurus Rider, alas, we barely knew ye. As the Allosaurus Rider rides all the way to the graveyard. And a Xenagos here on Gristlebrand. And that, as they say, is all she wrote today, sports fans. Xenagos, for those of you who don't know, doubles the power of a creature. And old Grizzly B was already getting in for a bunch. Lethal.
That was easy.
With the Xenagos.
Hey, but okay. Let's dive in.
All right.
Let's dive into game 3 here. If you're an aggressive white player like myself,
yes,
really important when you're in a bad matchup to be on the play game 3.
Yep.
Gives you a fake sense of hope.
Yeah.
like you could win.
Gives you false belief.
Gives you a little false belief. I'm on
Really
the play
important.
game 3. My opponent mulliganed. Everything's going great.
Another thing that can give you a fight. And it's
That's right.
When you're playing a very bad mono-white aggro deck, as you have done for much of your storied career, Cedric.
Proudly.
There are so many. You have to take every single opportunity to give yourself false hope.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's not a lot of real hope.
You got to convince yourself that things are possible.
Now, I want to make the very clear distinction. I'm not talking about Boros Energy. A very good deck.
That's true.
Right?
I don't play those.
No. Cedric doesn't play good decks.
No, I do
He plays
not.
bad decks only.
Back when I played, that's true.
Yes.
I like to challenge myself.
Because if he played good decks, he'd be unstoppable. No one else would have a chance.
That's definitely not true.
That's absolutely true.
It'll be your turn.
Derrick, I think single mulligan this game. If we're keeping track.
Yes.
I don't. We'll see. The thing about Simic Neoform, all joking aside briefly here, is that it's incredibly powerful. It doesn't mulligan the best. It's a little bit flimsy. But a matchup like this is exactly where you want to be. This is a very good matchup. The Boros Energy deck just doesn't really have a lot of ways to interact with you putting in Gristlebrand on the battlefield and just saying go like we kind of saw last game. So, the Xenagos kill was cool and fun, and I'm glad that it happened. But a lot of the time, it's just, I have Gristlebrand, you lose the game now. And this deck, again, doesn't mulligan the best. So when you are an aggressive deck and you are on the play and your opponent mulligans, that fake sense of hope that I'm mentioning, it's actually realistic because, again, you know that the Simic Neoform deck, even though it's a bad matchup, you can win because their hand just does not come together sometimes.
What I was going to say about this is that it is, it's a concerning thing to sit down against a glass cannon combo deck when you don't have the level of interaction needed. But you are really, really well equipped to punish their bad draws.
Yes.
So this is what the Boros Energy players are thinking when they sit down here. They're like, I just need one fumble, one stumble, right? And I'm going to punish that to the max because I can put a bunch of pressure on really early and hope you just don't have it.
Absolutely correct. And like this start, this isn't the fastest start in the world, but this is still a good start because it's 1-drop, 2-drop. You just want to get to the battlefield a little bit early. Guide us Souls, if we're keeping track of the energy, there's 1 energy counter right now because of the Voice of Victory. When Voice of Victory attacks, we're going to get some more energy counters. You can do some appropriate stacking. That's kind of positive alongside the Guide us Souls. So Guide us Souls can trigger pretty quickly in the matchup, so that is worth noting as well.
I don't think Derrick Davis' hand's very good. I haven't got the best look at it, but I think he might be in a little bit of trouble here as the Guide us Souls rumbles along with the Voice of Victory. There's a lot of damage here, Cedric.
21, right? Not 20, sorry.
Yep, and now immediately you see those two tokens come in. That's going to bring Guided Souls up to 3 energy. If you stack this correctly, if memory serves, you can stack it so that Guided Souls resolve second because it's an attack trigger.
So
you get 2 attack triggers, one from the Voice of Victory, one from the Guided Souls. You resolve the one from Voice of Victory first, 2 tokens. Then you go up to 3 energy. Then, as long as you targeted something with the Guided Souls, then you remove the energy, make the Guided Souls a little bit
Right,
better. So
because you can still put that trigger on the stack even if you don't have the energy sufficient
at that time.
At that time,
Yep. You're targeting first. Oh no, this is okay. We're full-blown cooking now.
Yeah.
Because now the tokens from Mobilize get sacrificed to Goblin Bombardment. So Bombardment is really important in the situation in multiple ways. The first way is that your Mobilize tokens, you get to throw them at your opponent. The second way is that if Derrick Davis puts Gristlebrand on the battlefield, you attack with all your creatures still. Gristlebrand blocks. Whatever it blocks, you throw via Goblin Bombardment so the lifelink doesn't happen. So now Gristlebrand, weirdly enough, may not be good.
It sounds weird, but it's a way to race the Gristlebrand.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. So this, as weird as it sounds, is like a really good draw in this matchup, especially if Derrick is fumbling and stumbling around.
We haven't seen a huge amount of action here. Okay, well, the Goblin Bombardment's not going to stick around.
Okay.
Is that a natural state?
Nature's Claim, I believe. Nature's Claim or Natural State. One of the two. Goblin Bombardment's dead in either way.
23.
It's a Nature's Claim. You correctly identified it as a Nature's Claim. Both in the sideboard.
Okay.
I want to point out.
Noted.
Both in the sideboard.
Probably going to be Elegant Parlor here. Yeah, so a little Surveil action.
Mm-hmm. These Surveil lands have been terrific. I was having a conversation with a certain reasonably well-respected Australian Magic the Gathering player, I will not be naming names,
Fair enough.
who subjected anyone who would listen to a good 5 or 6 minute tirade about how terrible these cards were.
Wrong.
And how they were not going to see any play. Flash in the pan, too expensive to put in your deck. You can't take a turn off like this. It's modern, blah, blah, blah. Well.
Great card is great.
Yeah, yeah. And that's why I'm not naming names, because it actually would be, it's pretty shameful.
That's okay.
Yeah.
That's okay. You live and you learn. You live and you learn.
They know who they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in his case, he lives.
That's true. That's good.
The learning part? Ocelot Pride. The follow-up here. In comes the Voice of Victory along with our good friend, the Guide of Souls.
Yeah, and the Pride's going to happen pre-combat because that's going to be the first energy for the Guide of Souls. The 2 tokens will be energy number 2 and 3, which means the Guide of Souls trigger can happen again. It's the same thing that we saw last turn. It's going to happen again this turn to increase the clock. So we're looking at 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I go to 3.
Yep, down to 3.
Cedric very disappointed now because the Voice of Victory no longer has 1 power.
Yeah.
We'll work through it, man. You and me together. Don't worry.
Too good.
Too good. And we're counting up. We got the City's Blessing? No.
Yeah, 2 away and no life is... Well, actually, life has been gained. That's true. That actually has happened because of the Guide of Souls trigger. So, meow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 permanents right now. Well, Derrick, this is the old now or never.
Now or never, buddy. Is it going to be now? Is it going to be never? Planar Genesis there. I can see an Allosaurus Rider, but I don't see anything else to follow it up. Nope. Reveals the hand. Stone nothing. And so Guilherme Merjam wins game number 3, and with it the match. Really good to see both of those decks get put through their paces. We got a good sense, I think, Cedric, of what both the Boros Energy and the Neoform decks are all about. A couple of unfortunate mulligans on both sides as well, but a good showcase of 2 decks that we can probably expect to see a little bit more from, particularly in the case of Boros Energy, across the weekend. Yeah,
Boros Energy was kind of the deck that people played this weekend of just, I'm not really sure what else to do. So Boros Energy is kind of the floor of just like, I want to make sure I register a good deck that has some agency, has some powerful cards, obviously has some good starts, puts my opponent to the test right away. We just saw that in the 2 games that were won. That's exactly what the deck does do. Simic Neoform, it's a risky choice. If things go really well, like you saw in game number 2 over the course of the weekend, you're probably going to be on the Sunday stage, right? But it doesn't always go that way. That deck doesn't mulligan very well. It's a little flimsy, but it can kill opponents very, very quickly. So by registering that deck, if you're Derrick Davis or anybody else that did do that, you know that you're signing up for a risky tournament.
Yes.
If things go great, you could be holding the trophy at the end, and it could look very easy. If things go bad, you will be flying home thinking, why did I do that?
Look,
that's how it goes sometimes.
You put together a solid limited record, you roll the dice with the glass cannon like Simic Neoform, and sometimes you get there.
Yes. And sometimes when you get there,
you mulligan to 5, and
when you get there, you feel like a genius. When you don't get there, you are questioning.
What was that again?
Decision.
You think. What was the thing you think? Why did I do that?
Why did I do that?
Why did I do that? Well, I'm glad at least that you've decided to be with us today. I hope you aren't going away from this thinking, why did I do that? It's been our pleasure to have you for the opening round of Modern. More after this, my friends, back with the news desk, and then more Modern coming your way. Don't go anywhere.